I'm Aaron Bernstein, and this lesson I'm going to introduce you to triad inversions. That's just a fancy way of saying that we're going to take three-note chords and flip them over so that the notes are arranged differently. And by the end of the video, you'll know how to look at all these chords and tell within a second what inversion it's in, where the root is, and what to call the chord. Now before we begin, let's have a little review on triads. The triad is the most basic chord in tonal music, and it has three notes. We'll start with a C major triad. First, we have the root note, C, and that's the note that gives the triad its name. So in a C major triad, C is our root. Our next note is called the third, because it's a third above the root, and our final note is the fifth, because it's a fifth above the root. So when I say third and fifth, these are just intervals or spacings between the notes. 1, 2, 3, that's a third, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a fifth. So there's our C major triad consisting of the notes C, E, and G. Now look up and you'll see that triad on the music staff. You'll notice that in this C major triad, the root note C is on the bottom. So we say that this triad is in root position. Look at the staff window again, and that's what a root position triad looks like, a snowman who's all put together. Now watch this. Believe it or not, every chord I just played was a C major triad. Now you might be thinking, okay, I get why this one is C major because C is on the bottom, but this one sure doesn't look like C major, because now E is on the bottom. And this one definitely doesn't look like C major, because G is on the bottom. The truth is, they were all the same chord. They just had a different arrangement of C, E, and G, that's all. C, E, G, C, G, C, E, C, E, G. All right, let's start flipping. We've got colors on the keys now, and you'll see that our root note, C, is red. That'll help us keep track of the root while it moves. I'm going to take the root note and kick him up an octave and watch the screen on top while I do this. It's still C, just the next C up. And we still have a C major triad, but the root is on top. And the chord is now in first inversion. We still have the same three letters, C, E, and G, but you can see that the intervals, or the spacing between the notes, is different now. We have a 1, 2, 3, third on the bottom, but now a 1, 2, 3, fourth on top. Look at our staff window again, and you can see that there's a big gap on top, like our snowman is losing his head. That's the fourth. Remember the shape of this inversion. All first inversion triads will look like this. Okay, let's keep flipping. I'm going to kick the bottom note up again. This time I moved the E up to the next E, and now my root, C, is in the middle. Now the chord is in second inversion. Let's look at our intervals. We have a 1, 2, 3, fourth on the bottom, and a 1, 2, 3, third on top. Now look up at our staff window, you'll see that gap of the fourth on the bottom this time, like our snowman is losing his feet. And that's what second inversion triads look like. Now for the last flip. Just like before, I'm going to take the bottom note, G this time, and flick it up to the next G. And look, our root note, C, is back on the bottom, and we're in root position again. In our staff window, the triad looks the way you'd expect it to look in root position. Our snowman is all put together again, all thirds, no gaps. So that's all there is to it. These are the three different ways that you can arrange the notes of a triad: root position, first inversion, and second inversion. Let's do a quick review. Here's root position, root on the bottom, and our snowman is in good health. Move the root up an octave, and here's first inversion, root on top, and the fourth is on top. Our snowman is losing his head. Move the bottom note up again. And here's second inversion. Now our snowman is losing his feet. Move the bottom note up one more time. And our snowman is put back together. His prognosis is excellent. Here's a random triad on a staff. You'll notice that we don't have a treble or bass clef yet, so there's no way to know what these notes are. But you can tell just from the shape of the chord what inversion it's in. So for this one, we have a gap on the bottom, so our snowman's feet are falling off. And that's definitely second inversion. Now that we know that, we also know that this chord's root, whatever it is in the middle. And that's all the information we need. Let's put a treble clef on this staff. And now we can figure out what chord this is. The root in the middle is F, so this has to be some kind of F chord. Let's listen to it. That has the bright, cheerful sound of a major triad, so this is F major in second inversion. All right, let's do another one. Remember, we don't even need to think about the note names yet. Look at the shape of the triad. There's a gap on top this time, and our snowman is losing his head. That, of course, is first inversion. And we also know that the root is on top. So let's put a bass clef on the staff this time. Our root is A, so this has to be some kind of A chord. And if we play it, we hear the sad, somber sound of a minor triad. So this is A minor in first inversion. So what effect do inversions have on the way chords sound? Well, let's play a few and find out. Here's an A major triad, and here's how it sounds in root position with the root in the bass. It sounds very rock solid and stable. But here's how the chord sounds in first inversion with the third in the bass. Not as stable anymore, it sounds a bit more temporary. And then even less stable would be second inversion with the fifth in the bass. Especially if I add a low octave down there. That A major chord suddenly sounds like it wants to resolve, maybe down to an E major triad. So inversions give us differing levels of instability, and that's a very important way of creating tension in music. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. You can see the advantage of learning how to recognize chord inversions on site so that you don't have to painstakingly figure out every note one by one. I'm Aaron Bernstein, and thank you for joining me.